This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports. You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host Keith Angle on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody, which is a little disingenuous because it's really good evening. We're taping this show on Wednesday night as I am probably at this point in time mid-air on my way to Orlando to get on a cruise ship tomorrow as you're watching this. So good to have you guys with us. We'll be off next Friday, but we'll have some kind of content. I'm not sure what it'll be yet, but we'll have some kind of content, and hope you'll join us. Hope you guys are having a great week wherever you are, digging out from the ice age storm that we had last weekend. So hope you're all doing well. Exciting week. Super Bowl 56 is upon us, and we're going to talk the storylines. We're going to break the game down a little bit. When the Bengals have the ball, when the Rams have the ball, etc. We'll kind of take a look at some coaching updates, and we'll see what else comes up. But with that, let me welcome in my co-host on Friday mornings for Are You Serious? Right here on TGI Sports Talk and the Northeast Streaming Sports Network, Mr. Carlos Chavez, the Mad New Yorker.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Hi, Keith. How's it going?
Good morning, I'll say, Carlos, even though obviously it's not good morning, but it's unfortunate we won't be able to have the peanut gallery commenting this morning, but we'll get their comments afterwards, and we can certainly respond afterwards. You can feel free to do so if the mood strikes you.
Sure, most definitely.
I don't know. Are you excited? Let's start there, right? We got the Bengals and the Rams, and there's some decent storylines here. Let's just start with the basic question. Are you happy? Are you excited about this matchup?
I mean, personally, I feel like everybody else here in the city of New York, they pick up the Times, they pick up the Post, they're picking up the Daily News, and you hear a buzz about, not being excited about the game, but everybody's really excited about the music lineup, who's under the age of between the age of 25 and 38, right? That's right now the big news.
I have no idea who those people are.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, for people my age and my age group, we're excited about the lineup for the halftime show. But the game, it's going to be something that if you tune in to watch, you got to pick a side and see who's going to win. I think the problem is that they both line up, almost fair. It's a fair game. They're almost equals. If you look at the lineup and you see how they played and how the playoffs ended up being. So I think that's one of the objectivities of the game that there's no excitement because the teams pretty much, are fair. If you're looking at the lineup, you're looking at how they played and everything else that happened to happen this postseason. So
yeah, without a terribly huge rooting interest in the game, I like the Bengals, and which we'll get to in a little bit. I root for underdogs when I don't have a dog in the fight, I guess. It's kind of my nature. There's a lot of, I think, really good storylines. If you're a football fan in general, there's a lot of things to look at. I mean, we can start with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Well, we can start with the fact that Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford, I think, are the first two quarterbacks who are the number one pick in their respective drafts to face off in the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's a very interesting story, and two very different paths to it. Joe Burrow there in his second year.
Yep.
And Matthew Stafford, it took 13 years to get here. His first 12 with Detroit, as everybody knows.
Right.
But if you're storyline there.
If you're an athlete, you feel like that, and you get injured like Joe Burrow, you feel like it's been maybe some 5 to 10 years because that injury should be something that could have taken him back a couple seasons, and he's been able to recuperate. Nobody knows, only he himself knows how he's feeling and how his leg is doing. But on average, people with that kind of injury, like you said, like you've had it, it's not easy to come back and go play in an NFL game and lead your team to victories in the playoffs. So kudos to him. He's been doing it. He's young. You could tell that he's got that will that he wants to be in every game and he wants to finish it in every game. He's been sacked a lot in the postseason. So, that's not easy to overcome and then come in. Now you're in the Super Bowl for the first time in your second year. That's exciting. And on the flip side, you got Matt Stafford, who nobody ever thought would ever make it to a Super Bowl, considering some of the teams that he's been on. He's always run out of luck, like even in the playoffs in the first games, missing players or just not scoring enough points in a couple of those games. So, two different people, two different, roads to where they're at to coming this weekend to play. So, it's for that. Yeah, there's a few storylines, but
I've been very hard on Stafford, until recently he started to win me over. Been very hard. I mean, when he got traded and they thought he was the answer to get him over the top, I wasn't sure. Yeah,
and to be honest with you, I said the same thing. I was like, they're just trading a younger person because I feel like Goff and Stafford are the same quarterback. Just one is older than the other. One has more experience than the other. I didn't feel like that was a big upgrade, but it's an upgrade when the other one has a lot of experience in the playoffs, right? He showed that. So, and he finally got over the hump,
Yeah, and on the flip side, you got a guy who's never been in a playoff game, but he's playing with such moxie. I mean, as we said, he's been beaten up terribly in these 3 games for the most part. And you think, but the team itself, always seems like they're on the verge of just getting blown out of a game here or there. Certainly last week.
Right.
And they've got this great resiliency and this grit to them that they don't give up. They don't seem to be out of games, but
they just stick around.
They don't seem overwhelming on either side of the football. But Joe Burrow seems to lead them through the sheer force of his will. That's what it feels like, anyway.
Yeah, like his resiliency shows. His football mentality is, second to none. He's doing a great job, and he's giving his team an opportunity. Now, we talk so much about Burrow, but we got to understand that kicking game and that kicker has been money, right? It's like, he hasn't missed any kicks yet. And that to me is,
I cringe every time the announcers say,
you want the first kicks to miss hopefully be like the first half of the game and let him get off of the nerves. Cause you don't want him, you need him, right?
Also Burrow, he's looking to do something nobody's ever done before. No quarterback has ever done. Win an NCAA championship, a Super Bowl, and a Heisman Trophy. Nobody's ever done it. And not only will he have done it, he will have done it in the space of 3 years. So he's a remarkable story. He's a really good kid. You listen to him sometimes and he sounds a little cocky, but he backs it all up. And I just like his swagger. There's just something you got to like about Joe Burrow.
Oh, for sure. The confidence that he has is like you could tell that he's got grit, and I'd say pump the brakes because he's still a young cat. And, and I like that, he's leading his team in his way of doing it. Right. And in the way that he knows how, and that's just play hard and don't quit and don't give up. And sometimes you need that person who has that perseverance, right? You're going to be in battle with that guy. So, he has that going for him. But like I try to tell people, he's still young, pump the brakes. He hasn't won the Super Bowl yet. So, let's see what he's got for this game. And hopefully he can lead the team down the field and hopefully his kicker's in the game and they're going to make this a game, again, and I know it's common sense, but you got to score and you got to score fast and you got to keep yourself in the game. Don't coming back from behind in the Super Bowl. It's not that it's not doable. It's just you're putting yourself out,
It's doable. I've seen it done.
Right. No, it's just a bad position to be in, right? So it's like, I've seen it done too. My team's won a few times being
Tom Brady was on the other end of that one though.
Yeah. So the Giants coming through, but again, I think they have a good chance against LA. Their defense is ranked in the top 10 this year, which is good for them. They picked up some free agents to muscle up that defense a little bit, that line and even the back end of the secondary. So it's a good matchup for the defense and the offense of LA. OBJ and Cooper, they're going to double Cooper Kupp. Like that's what it is. But OBJ's got an opportunity of making some plays this game, and
he's another guy who's got a chance to, since he's been with the Rams, he's been a different kind of guy. He hasn't really made waves the way he's made in Cleveland and certainly New York before that.
Right.
This would be a nice redemption story if you like them, and he actually has changed his personality, if that's even possible. You like to see. I like to root for redemption stories. I just hope he isn't, go along right now, and you're going to see him go back to his old ways after this, because he's got a chance to really be a great story here in this Super Bowl.
Yeah, and my thing, and I'm hoping that Stafford doesn't do this. It's like, OBJ is a great wide receiver, but you make him comfortable. Do not make OBJ uncomfortable, because he does have a tendency of getting himself out of games mentally, not physically, and he does run his routes, but get him the ball fast, get him down the field. Don't get him the ball inside. He doesn't like to get hit too much. He's more of a guy going, going on the sidelines, going on the top, but don't short pass for OBJ, man. Don't do that to him. Use your tight end, use your running back, make OBJ use his skills. And I hope Matthew Stafford can do that, because these last few games, he knows what OBJ can do, but he just, he had a good game last game, but the game before that, OBJ was almost none, wasn't even there. So
yeah, that's true. He can disappear.
He can disappear quick, really fast.
Before we jump into the nuts and bolts of the game itself, there's a couple other things I find interesting as far as this game goes. You've got a matchup of two coaches who really have kind of a lot to prove. We know McVay's story, right? Youngest coach in the NFL, which I'm not sure if he is. Taylor might be now. I'm not sure. But he got to a Super Bowl, didn't win. Has had some struggles since then, and some people are down on McVay, but he's also now facing off against a guy who was on his staff,
right?
Who's had his own problems last year when Joe Burrow was down, and it was talk that he'd lost the locker room and that he may not keep his job. And he comes from a pretty good football lineage as well. He was a Big 12 Player of the Year at Nebraska. He's the son-in-law of Mike Sherman, who used to coach the Packers. So he's got a pretty good background of his own. This is a cool little matchup to me of coaches as well.
McVay comes in and he's getting everything that he's asking for from his owner, right? And which is very rare in the NFL, right? Usually you get maybe a quarter of what you want from your owner, so like he's coming in and I mentioned before a few weeks ago, and I even told Robert at Sports, like, this team is top heavy. Like, let's not hope that everyone gives up on doing their job because they're the best at their position. You bring in Von Miller, it helps your defense, which your defense really didn't need that much help because you got one of the best pass rushers already on your team. You bring in OBJ. You did lose a wide receiver in Woods, but so they have the opportunity to do and do good things with, and McVay has, maybe his playbook now can use it all up because he has the potential and the all-stars to do that. But Taylor's doing a great job, man. He's proved everybody wrong so far. And I think the most important thing is that he doesn't worry about what other people say. And he knows that his team is young and that he's making sure that he's using them to the best of their abilities, right? I haven't seen him make too many mistakes in the short game. And he makes pretty good calls to Burrow. Even Burrow's getting sacked. He's telling him, don't even throw the ball away. You got cornerbacks out there that can snag the ball. Just take the sacks.
Good job, I think, managing the clock, game management in general.
And the best thing about Taylor that a lot of people forget is that he has surrounded himself with coaching of a coaching staff that have winning personalities.
Yeah.
They might not all be winning Super Bowls and championships, but they all have winning personalities. They've all been on the grind, and that also helps their team, right? Because you need somebody to be motivational, and that staff has done a great job to motivate these young guys.
You would think in this matchup that they would have a little bit of an edge because of experience in the playoffs, experience in this environment of the Super Bowl. But, McVay, who I like, and he gets a bad rap, but, Mark Mancini comes down who hates everything LA, and it's amazing. The hatred he carries for LA and still living there is amazing. But he really rips McVay, and I think it's unfair in a way, but he does do some things that make you pull your hair out. I mean, he just mismanages timeouts terribly last week.
Mm-hmm.
He was fortunate to get away with it. He gets conservative at some very strange times for a guy who had been aggressive at a lot of points in his career, especially as a play caller before he became a head coach. So I think McVay has got more to lose in this game, obviously, than Zach Taylor, I would say.
Well, when you got to look at McVay's situation, people keep taking from his staff, right? And he's losing a lot of people that he's confident with, and that
he was his offensive coordinator to the Vikings, I think.
Right. So every year you see it, every season after the Super Bowl, he's been losing pieces here and there, and yeah, he has to bring other pieces back into the mix, but that table don't feel as firm as it used to when you got shaky legs, So
I will point out Kevin O'Connell was an ex-Patriot quarterback, not one who played, mind you, but he was an ex-Patriot quarterback.
Yeah, I saw that, and it wasn't that he couldn't play; he had injury, So
yeah, well, he wasn't gonna play because there was a guy wearing number 12 in front of him.
Right. I mean,
FYI. The other thing in this matchup, this is an interesting matchup of two teams. In my mind, I'm going to call this two teams that have never won a Super Bowl because the LA Rams have never won a Super Bowl.
It's true.
St. Louis Rams did. But
right.
The LA version of this team has never won a Super Bowl. They've been to one, right? No, would they go to one or two? Two. I'm sorry. They lost to the Brady and the Patriots, and they lost years ago to the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bengals, of course, played two really great games, I thought, against the 49ers in the 80s and have not been back since 1989.
Right.
88 season. So I think that's a great storyline as well. Somebody's going to get their first victory here, and this would be big for both of these franchises, obviously, especially where the Bengals have been recently. Right. And again, they got to a bunch of playoffs under Marvin Lewis, but could never even win a game.
Can't go over that hump, right? So, and I don't believe it was a Marvin Lewis not doing a good job. It was just the depth on that team. They just don't. It was a smaller club, and they just didn't have enough, enough players on that team with experience in some of those clubs and some of those years to get over the hump.
We talk about a lot, getting over the hump and winning big games and winning big spots. And there's a lot of really good coaches. Like there's a lot of good quarterbacks that never won a world championship. Marty Schottenheimer comes to mind. Yeah. Marvin Lewis was a good coach in the regular season for a lot of years. Could not get over the hump.
Hey, you're talking about Marvin Lewis. I mean, he's one of the cats that took the Baltimore, right?
He was the defensive coordinator there.
Defensive coordinator, and he won a Super Bowl. So it's like, it's not that he's not a good coach. So again, if you have a small club and you live in one of those smaller cities, and
Andy Dalton is your quarterback, so
Dalton had a few good years. Listen, they had bad breaks with their running backs getting hurt right towards the end of the season, like almost so.
But
those teams were ready. I mean,
regular season quarterbacks. We'll have this conversation again.
Yeah,
regular season quarterbacks, and then there's playoff quarterbacks.
Right.
And Andy Dalton was never a good playoff quarterback.
No. I mean, it just
until now.
Yeah, the confident level is not the same when you're missing your safety, your safety blankets. Look, I mean, but in LA's got a problem right now, right? Their problem is that this is a new franchise for them, even though they have history, they've been back and forth. The fans, like, they have fans, but they're in a rebuilding process too. People don't get it twisted. Yeah, even though you had the Rams there before, St. Louis is brokenhearted right now. And they're brokenhearted because they're just looking at a team that made it to a Super Bowl, and they're paying a check to the, they're getting a check from LA saying thanks, but no thanks,
Well, they might get a check, but they're not getting any trophies. That's for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. So, and on the flip side, you have a football team and you have two football teams and the crowd and the fan bases are growing, are rebuilding, so it's an interesting, situation there in LA, but they want to win, right? No matter what team you put in LA, they want to win.
How many Bengals fans are going to be in this crowd? I mean, I said there was more 49er fans in that crowd last week than there were Rams fans. It was an awful lot. I mean, place holds a lot of people to begin with.
Look, LA
crawling with 49ers fans.
Even, and this happens all the time too during the Super Bowl, right? Even if you can't get a ticket in, you're going to be on the outside. LA, you better believe there's going to be a ton of people from Ohio and Cincinnati fans from all over in your parking lot and in your backyard partying it up this weekend. So
that actually brings up another point. Can they even get in the game? I mean, did you see the prices of these tickets?
I saw the box seats for
$26,000 or something.
There was a box seat that was going for $2.5 million.
Well,
it's crazy. And the box is like what, you hold 8 to 10 people, something like that.
This game isn't for the the Bengal and Rams fans. This game's for the corporate sponsors. It's unfortunate. That's why you don't see you won't hear that stadium will not be as loud Sunday as it was last week for the Rams and 49ers.
You think they're going to have empty seats though?
I don't think there'll be empty seats. They'll find a way to fill it up. The corporate sponsors will.
Eventually, you're going to start letting people in, right?
Yeah, but you got people in there who don't have any rooting interest, and they're going to be sitting on their hands. I've seen this in Super Bowls before, where the crowds are not rabid like they are in the NFC or the conference championship games.
Yeah, well, the NFL can't change that. There's no way to change that because the Super Bowl ticket is such a desired ticket by a true fan that they kind of get lost in the mix when they do this the ticket sharing that they do. It's ridiculous.
It's unfortunate for the fans too.
It is
that they don't get to actually get there. They pay the freight the whole season, right? But they can't.
Right.
They don't get any opportunity after that. So let's dive into this a little bit deeper now. So let's start off when the Bengals have the football. What are we going to look for? To me, and I'll let you kind of riff off this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The keys are going to be how Joe Burrow handles that pass rush because they're going to be on his face. I mean, he had trouble against Kansas City, he had trouble against Tennessee, and he hasn't even seen Aaron Donald yet, much less Von Miller and some of these other guys. How they handle that pass rush and Joe Burrow can move around the pocket as he did the last few weeks is going to be important. And then you got his matchup with the secondary and tying in with that, Chase against Jalen Ramsey is going to be one of the other huge matchup I look at here. What are your thoughts as far as out of the gate, what to look for when the Bengals have the football?
When the Bengals have the ball, like I'm looking at that O-line and Price, to me, I don't know if he has an injury or not, but for the last few games, he's been standing up straight too high. And they've been coming at him low and quick and pushing him off balance on that side of the ball. So I'm hoping that he's not injured or he just does a better job. I know he's an Ohio State lineman, and he was one of the best players in college for his position, but he did miss in college. He did miss almost a whole season, 13 games, and like I don't know if it's something that he injured during the season or in the playoffs, but that side of the football, when you're looking at Joe Burrow on his right side, I don't know if you know the alignment I'm speaking of.
Yeah, who are we talking about?
Price, Jeremiah Price. Yeah, so I'm hoping that he's doing okay because when watching those games, he's standing almost straight up as a lineman, and that's dangerous, man. Because you're gonna they're gonna push you over, and so, and then secondly, I'm looking at Von Miller and Aaron Donald. They're gonna get big pushes on that O-line.
He's not gonna have a lot of time back there. He's gonna have to move around, and
I'm thinking. this is a good time for them to hunker down, run the ball, Mixon. I don't know how their tight end is doing.
Yeah, I think that's a key. I didn't mention that. I should have mentioned that with my little intro there too. That if he's kind of a safety blanket for Burrow as well, and if trying to remember his name now, Uzama, yeah, if he's not fully recovered or at least recovered enough to be a threat in this game, that could be a huge key for the Bengals.
Yeah, the thing is they have great wide receivers and Joe Burrow could throw the ball, but are they going to have enough time and space? So they're gonna have to figure it out. I would play if I was Taylor, I'd come out with the short game and just start zipping the ball, longer and longer every other down, and you got to stretch these guys. Ramsey, no matter who he plays, he's gonna do a good job.
Well, so that's the thing too. You talked about doubling Chase, and to me, for the Rams to be successful, they need to be able to cover. Ramsey needs to be able to cover him one-on-one, because if they double Chase, then Higgins and Boyd are pretty good receivers.
They're not beat you. Those are good options, and they're tall and quick.
Yeah, I love Higgins' game.
They're they have a ton of yak yards between them. And it's like that's what I'm saying. If I'm Taylor, I'm going Mixon. Short game and just slowly spread the ball out, because you're not gonna have time, and they're gonna be so ramped up. You got Donald and Von Miller. They're gonna want theirs, and they're gonna be on the biggest stage of their careers. Von Miller already got a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So they need it. I really believe the Bengals need to be able to run the football a little bit, or at least have the threat. I thought that against Kansas City, and I thought they were nuts, and maybe they knew what they were doing when they ran the ball like on first down every single time into the line for no gain or a yard with Mixon. It worked eventually, but I'm not sure what the strategy was there. I mean,
right. Well,
because play action, I get that, but it seemed like they never went play action on first down.
Yeah, I think what Reed was trying to do is just trying to make that D line tired, and wear them out. But what Cincinnati failed to do was push the ball forward. They were going sideways a lot, but they weren't going forward enough, right? So that was what was haltering their game. And hopefully this time they push the ball with Mixon forward. Like if the more times he goes to the sideline and sideways, the less yards you get. You're not doing any favors for yourself. But I mean, you are making the defense a little bit tired, because you have to make them run.
Well, they also, they can have an extension of their running game in a passing game. Because Mixon's dangerous in the passing game as well. Unlike really the Rams running backs, I do not think are as big a factor in a passing game as Mixon is.
I mean, look, this is a team that got beat by Cleveland twice, right? Yeah. And Cleveland is and they had a good defense this year, and they were fast with the cornerbacks. So there's a recipe to beat the Bengals out there. They
lost 6 games. They lost a couple of bad games. I mean,
and so but just here's the thing: just because you hit Burrow doesn't mean you got to knock him out of the game. So
no, and I think I think that they need to be able to run the football a little bit to keep that pass rush off of. Because I really think, as much duress as Burrow's been under this entire postseason, I'm not sure he's seen anything like what he's going to see Sunday with Aaron Donald breathing out.
And I say this, he will rush for more than 10 yards. And if he doesn't, again, that's going to – they
will not be designed rushes, by the way.
Yeah, they're not designed at all, no. But he will rush for more than 10 yards. And if he doesn't, it's going to be a long day for everybody on that Bengals team, because you have to get positive yardage somewhere. And if you don't have a running game and your quarterback staying in that pocket and taking sacks, that's not a good recipe for winning.
As many sacks as he's taken, he has shown a little bit of proclivity for keeping the play alive. I mean, he's not a fast guy, and he doesn't look terribly nimble, but he seems to escape things, even though he does take some sacks, holds on to the ball too long sometimes. It's not all on the O-line. But what was I going to say? I saw a couple plays like 2 weeks ago where he just was able to kind of skip out of a tackle where I didn't even think you could see the guy there. So he's got a presence in the pocket that really serves him well. And hopefully he can continue that this week. So who do you give an advantage? Let's say the Cincinnati offense against the Rams defense. Who are we going to give the advantage to here?
It's going to be I give it to the Bengals only because they have weapons in the running and passing and in the tight ends, right? They all do a good job catching and running after the ball. I give them the advantage on that. Not to say that the Rams defense is bad. I'm just saying if Joe Burrow can get the ball out of his hands, the Bengals will probably do a better job than if than the defense can actually control.
I'm going to give a little bit of an edge to the Rams, which is going to sound funny because I'm going to pick Cincinnati to win this game. I'm going to give them a little edge because of that pass rush, and so the key is going to be how Burrow handles it,
right,
and how the rest of the Bengals kind of react to getting hit in the face a few times.
I mean, they've been getting hit in the face the last 3 games, so like, and the thing is that they're waiting for the last few minutes of the game, but when they stretch it that field, man, and like Joe says, I just throw it up and hope Chase gets it. It's like,
I think there's a little more to it than that, but he's being a little.
You know what I'm saying? No, you got that confidence, man, and you got that player to do it. That's like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, if you think about it.
Let's switch to the other side of the ball. So when the Rams have the ball, what can we expect? Now, Stafford and Cooper Kupp go without saying. This team, these guys have been a tremendous matchup. I mean, Cooper Kupp had a historic season this year. I think he only missed the most catches by maybe 1 or 2 behind. I can't remember who he's behind now. Michael Thomas. And just the yardage record by just a little bit too. A tremendous season by Cooper Kupp.
And he's still getting a Triple Crown though, right?
Yeah, for this year, definitely. I was talking about the all-time record. He was behind these guys, that's all. So this year, Triple Crown for him. They did lose one of their better weapons in Robert Woods early in the year. Odell Beckham, as we talked about, has come in and he's been up and down. And I think Odell Beckham's going to be, as we talked about a little bit early on, is going to be a key to this game because they're going to try to take Cooper Kupp out of this game. I don't think they're going to have success necessarily in the long run, but
again, McVay, man, if you're listening or people are listening to the show, or you let OBJ be OBJ. Do not put him in the short game. Don't do it. I mean, if you have to put him at a force, fine, but don't force feed him. Give him the ball, at the dash, man. Let him play his game. If you don't allow him to be who he is, you will lose his game. He will not be. He won't be part of your plan, your game plan to win the game. You won't be successful. He takes himself. I think OBJ is one of the best players when he's playing well, but the worst player on the field because he takes himself out of the game so quickly.
Well, that's how you find out about a lot of guys' characters, right? Everybody can be a great player and a great person, a great teammate when things are going well, but when there's some adversity, that's when you find out about a guy's character. And
it's not even the worst part is not even adversity. It's not that the teams are doing bad and OBJ. It's just the fact that they're calling a slant play, right? And he doesn't want the slant. He wants, a slant and a hook route or something. They're calling something that he doesn't like or he doesn't want to do. And eventually he's like, you know what? I'm out. They're not using me. They're not using my, So, and sometimes you just got to ask him, dude, what do you want? And I'll get you the ball,
Yeah.
So.
I think Stafford's tried hard to build some rapport with him too. And, you can see them sometimes on the sideline where other guys would be, Baker Mayfield and OBJ were just not a match made in heaven for sure.
Right. I mean, like you saw it too, and I think this was like one of the most frustrating things for Eli Manning was because Eli Manning he couldn't throw that long pass like consistently. He could throw. It was just like he had to wind up and throw. And
whenever he had a guy in a helmet, the thing would stick there.
His accuracy, wasn't the best in the game. And that was frustrating for OBJ, right? Because you could see that he would run his routes. OBJ would run his routes, be open, but the ball wouldn't be there, right?
Yeah.
or the ball would pass him or whatever the case may be. And then he went to Cleveland, kind of the same thing. You got Baker and he did what he wanted to do, and OBJ would be like, yo, I don't want to run a hook pattern or I don't want to run a slant, get me on the top, hit me on the top half of the field. And this guy is a great player. Use him to his advantage. Don't go out making plays, quick slants and quick hooks and thinking that he's gonna be happy, because he's not. He can be the big player that you need. He could be that playmaker that you need. But if you don't get him the ball where he wants it or where he needs it to be, this is game over, man.
I think Stafford and McVay would be wise to get him involved early and get him interested early, and I think you'll keep him in the game if you get him involved early. That's what I think will happen. It should happen if they want to maximize his coverage. So, listen. Also, I think the running game for the Rams is underrated. It hasn't been very exciting. It's been kind of ground and pound, but Cam Akers, and I had this discussion with Mac a couple of weeks ago. He'd come off a game where he was averaging about 2 yards a carry, whatever. My point is, Cam Akers is one of the great stories in this game. We were talking about storylines before.
Right.
Cam Akers, as I talked about
another
before,
person coming back for injury. Yeah.
Ruptured his Achilles not even 6 months ago now. And he's back playing football the same year. Is he the player he was before? No, but the fact that he's on the field is a miracle in my mind.
And look he might be just
coming back.
He might be the starting running back, but they got a really good backup behind him.
Sony Michel, for sure. He got caught up in a numbers game in New England, and a good pickup for the Rams.
Yeah, I don't understand why New England even let him go.
Numbers game, fumbled the ball, That's
but
guy.
Oh my goodness, yo!
I think Bill Parcells thought he was soft. You asked,
man. Listen, every great running back's fumbled the ball, and most of the time it's not even their fault. So
he'd be the third back in the Patriots right now, though. I mean, they don't need him. Harris and Stevenson are the future there.
All I know is that he's got a chance of winning championship again.
He does, and Patriots are home watching him. So, right?
What's that's going to be his third Super Bowl?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So, a couple of good stories there. I think the Rams will be able to run the ball a bit on the Bengals. I really do.
They'll run. Yeah, I think that'd probably be their best bet to try to stretch the field out, because they can run the ball, and they'll be able to. That Cooper Kupp situation and OBJ, that's a factor. And is Higbee going to play this game? Did they announce that he was going to play this game?
Or he's questionable still, so he might be close to a game time decision. And like we talked about with the tight end on the other side of the football, this is a key to the offense too. And they were down to, I think, their last tight end 2 weeks ago. So the injuries on the tight end depth chart are not good for the Rams right now. So, and Higbee, I think they really need badly in this game myself as well.
I mean, you know what it is that Cooper Kupp's more comfortable with him because he's been playing with him the whole season.
Yeah.
That one of the tight ends, that third tight end that came in that was undrafted, he played pretty well. He's picked up the slack. I forget his name.
Hopkins. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a good head on. He's got a good head on his shoulder. He's not a bad. He's got good hands. I don't know about blocking skills, but most tight ends, again, I say this all the time. These tight ends nowadays, they're not really good blockers anyways. If you want somebody to block for you, it's better if you get somebody, teach them how to be a fullback, put an O-line there, and make holes for you. Don't depend on three tight ends. That's, you're not getting people like Gronkowski and Gonzalez. You're not getting those kind of guys anymore,
So when the Rams have the ball, who do we give the advantage to? The Rams offense or the Bengals defense?
You know what? The Bengals defense is underrated.
They are, but I'm going to tell you this much. If they give Stafford all day, the coverage that their defensive backs put up against Kansas City in that second half was tremendous, because while Mahomes was getting pressure and running all over the place back there, there were times he was standing there for 15 seconds, it felt like, right? It wasn't that long, I get it, but I don't think they can do that against Kupp and Beckham. Well, they did it against Hill, so maybe they can. But I don't know if they can do this 2 games in a row and pull that kind of miracle out of covering, these guys like they're a fly trap.
Right. So the book's out on Stafford because he's been in the league for years. You can pressure him, right? But his percent and completions is like, if you pressure him, it's under 50, right? It's right at like 49.6. Right, if you pressure him, if you leave him in the pocket, and you give him time, he's at a 75% completion rate.
Well,
if you blitz him, he's almost at another 70%. So it's not, he can read blitzes, he can pick them up, but it's the whole pressure thing that you have to move him. You can't just say you're gonna blitz him, and that's the key right there for the defense of the Bengals. If they can get to him, instead of just trying to blitz him and still give him time to throw the ball, that's going to make the difference, right? Because the experience that he has, right?
I think they actually have to get to him, unlike what they did with Mahomes, because they can't let those wide receivers just run around for 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds. They're not going to be able to cover him all day long. So they got to get to Stafford, I think, to actually win.
To actually to have an effect, right?
Right. So let's cut to the chase. Give me a winner. What's the score?
32-27, Bengals win.
32-27 Bengals. I'm going to say 28-24 Bengals. I got to get a bet on the money line here. I took the points, 4.5. I got to think I might have to get a bet on the money line too and pick them to win. And give me an MVP.
The MVP of the game.
The Bengals winning, but
I'm gonna go with Higgins, man.
Ooh, that's off the chart. Higgins.
Because
I think the easy pick because quarterbacks win even when they don't.
Joe Burrow.
They don't look at Tom Brady didn't deserve probably 2 of his Super Bowl MVPs, to be quite honest with you.
That's why. And I had the discussion with somebody, a friend of mine, and I was like, if Higgins, let's say Higgins scores 3 touchdowns, they're gonna give that to Burrow? Because he's a QB throwing the ball.
Hard not to. It's just the nature of the game, I'm not saying it's right. How many wide receivers have actually won the MVP? I can think of 2. Jerry Rice and Deion Branch won against the Eagles. I can't think. I mean, sure, there's probably others, but there aren't many. It's always a quarterback, whether he deserves.
Because you know what, I would give it to Higgins because you would. I can see him go. Just being open and Burrow just throwing the ball, and like he's gonna fight for it, he's quick. And I can see him breaking a couple tackles, man. If Joe Burrow throws a 20-yard passes to Higgins and Higgins scores and runs an extra 30, 40 yards, Joe Burrow's gonna get that.
Look at Tom Brady won with 120 yards passing and against the Rams his first Super Bowl. So anything can happen. They like the quarterback.
I told I knew that Antonio Brown last year. I told Jack that he was at least going to score 1 touchdown, and he scored 1 touchdown. So okay,
I'm going to pick Burrow.
Oh man, golly.
So your guy's going to have a good day if Burrow's going to win the MVP.
I mean, if Higgins scores 2 touchdowns, right, and Joe Burrow throws him the ball, and Joe Burrow gets the nod for MVP, come on, that's.
Don't be.
I mean, you're right. You're right, though. It usually does go to the quarterback,
man.
I know.
It's all about who's going to look better going to Disney World.
I don't know,
Listen,
man.
So you already given me this. So you got your winner of the game. You got your MVP. And actually, your MVP is a bit of a surprise. So I'm going to ask you, don't be surprised to see this happen during the course of the game.
Mixon fumbled the ball for a touchdown return.
Oh, there's a good call. So we got a fumble return by the Rams, and it's on Mixon. All right. I'm going to say, don't be surprised if Matthew Stafford turns this ball over 3 times.
I was gonna say he's got to at least throw 1 interception. At least, right?
There could be a fumble and a couple interceptions, but he's going to turn the ball over 3 times.
Is there a parlay for that?
I'm good. Look, there's a parlay on anything. Go on DraftKings. I'll find a parlay for anything you want to bet on.
Is there a bet? Is there a bet for how many times Stafford throws interceptions?
I would say, yeah.
Three. That's a high.
I could probably get a pretty good number for that. I don't know what it might be. Let's take a quick look while we're talking. You talk about something while I look at this here.
I mean, he's ranked second in the most interceptions, right? In the NFL right now.
That's what we got here.
So
since we're talking about it, let's have some fun and let's look at some of the prop bets.
Let's look at a prop bet. Wow, 3 interceptions. Man, that's kind of titillating, right?
Super Bowl 56.
Man. Tell you what,
alternate.
Nowadays you can bet on anything, right?
Where's the props?
It's right next to the flip, the coin flip.
Passing props. Let's look at passing props. That's not very good. This is just over under. So you can bet over under. Let's do this one real quick. Over under on passing yardage. Joe Burrow, 274.5.
Ooh, 275.5?
274.5. 275 is a winner. 274 is a loser.
Over.
I'll take over. 280.5 for Stafford. I'm going under.
Again, this is one of those JB things, OBJ things, right? If OBJ gets if he gets 3 catches, that puts Stafford over.
Yeah. Look, if he's going to win the game, he's going to go over.
Yeah.
If he loses, I think he's going to be under. So I'm going to take the under there.
Yeah, take the under. He's going to throw the interceptions, right?
Jamar Chase over 4.5 catches.
I just don't think I don't think the catches will go his way. I think they'll go to Higgins and the other wide receiver.
Oh wait, that's not 4.5 catches. What is that? Sorry, that's 5.5 catches.
5.5. He might get 3.
Oh, you're going to go under. Cooper Kupp 7.5
catches.
Yeah,
catches. No, still under, bro. I mean, they're gonna blanket him, right? He's got to look. Another thing about this is they have to actually make the catch too. They can't just the ball just can't be thrown.
No, you won't get paid on that. I guarantee you.
You can't just.
I can't find anything on interceptions though. That's unfortunate.
I'm sure you can.
It's probably here somewhere if I look closer. Negative. There's all kinds. You can bet almost anything you want here. It's crazy. Game props, last score, overtime. Well, the game go into overtime. You can bet 100 to win 950.
I hope not.
Well, safety be scored. You can get 800 if a safety.
No, I don't think so either.
Largest lead of the game, 14.5 is the over. That's high. I'm going under on that. You think somebody's going to get ahead by +2 touchdowns?
It's possible. The interceptions are thrown that you're talking about, the 3 of them.
Still trying to find something that'll give me interceptions here. There's completions, conversions. All right. Well, enough of that. Anyway, you can bet anything you want. DraftKings, you should be sponsoring the show and all the shows here on Northeast Streaming Sports. You expect to hear from the Mad New Yorker at some point. There's where we got to go after all these damn betting.
They're just giving money away, man. They're just giving money away.
Right?
Trillions of dollars, bro.
Let's talk a little bit before we go today, Carlos. Let's talk. We've had some more coaching changes. We got to pull it up because I don't remember who the hell went there now. Who was the most recent guys hired? We talked about Peterson, I think, for the Jaguars, or maybe you and I didn't talk about that.
No, we meant
Peterson landing with the Jaguars.
It's okay. I mean, again, that GM is the issue there, not and the owner needs to, look somewhere else. Peterson, I don't understand why Peterson wanted to go back into coaching. I mean, I thought he might get a GM role or some kind of admin role in a team. Even maybe something in scouting or development. But I guess he's back in the game and he's with the Jaguars now.
I had actually bet that. I had a bet with Jamie Pags that Peterson would be back in the NFL and win 9 games before the Eagles would win 9 games.
That's That's a good bet.
I don't know. I might have lost. How much did the Eagles win this year? Didn't they win almost 9?
They won 10, wasn't it? And they got in the playoffs.
Yeah. So I lost that bet. He had a good bet there. I didn't.
Yeah, but Peterson wasn't it wasn't coaching anything yet.
No. I said he'd be back in the league. So I was saying the Eagles weren't going to win 9 games for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Oh, yeah. No.
I thought they were going to win about 3 games this year.
Yeah.
So that shows you what I know. Josh McDaniel to the Raiders.
You know, I feel bad for the organization there because I like the move, but it's not they're gonna have to reorganize and shift everything around. They're not gonna have the same team like last year, right? Like that probably lose Carr for sure, you know, because Carr wanted the other coach, and on top of that, he's under, you know, he needs a new contract. So I don't know if he has any incentive to stay, you know.
From what I read, the Raider fans are not happy, and more importantly, the Raider players may not be very happy that Josh McDaniel's their new coach, and he's going to have to win people over quickly. He obviously didn't do that first time around in Denver, but some guys learn, like Bill Belichick. They fail the first time around, they learn from it. We'll find out about Josh McDaniel.
Well, what is it that he can do different and differently? That's the key, and I don't know if he has that in him to. And you're in Las Vegas now. It's not even in LA, you know, like, or Oakland. You're not even in California. You're in Las Vegas. So, you know, that town is going to win over players faster than that coach.
I think Josh McDaniel's in for a tough time out there. I really do, because the division's going to be getting tougher.
Right.
The Broncos with their new hire, if he's able to lure the quarterback he wants over there, then the Broncos are going to be much better. The Chargers are on the come with Herbert, and the Chiefs aren't going anywhere despite their meltdown there in the second half in the championship game. It's still a pretty good football team. Did
McDaniels get any offers from any other teams?
He did not interview anywhere else that I'm aware of. So it's going to be an interesting time there.
I don't know, man. I don't know if that's. Hey, you know, just win, baby, right? That's all you can do.
Any thoughts on Dennis Allen, promoted from defensive coordinator of the Saints to the head coach of the Saints? Look at that. I think he's in for a rough time too, because Peyton got it out ahead of all the problems they got with their cap, no quarterback.
Okay, so the Caps, they got to restructure the team. They got no quarterback. They're getting the stadium rebuilt so that they can host a Super Bowl there. Their ownership did them a solid by keeping somebody who already has relationships with the players.
Yeah.
But what does that matter if you got to cut half of them?
He's a caretaker until this team gets, their
that's
right.
Terrible, man. I mean, if he wins, he'll stay, right?
Oh, if he wins, he'll stay. Yeah, but
so
I think that team's set up to fail for the next couple of years at least. And
that team is set up to rebuild right now, right? I think so, right?
And a head scratcher for me is Lovie Smith getting the job in Houston, whose name wasn't even being mentioned. Supposedly he and Brian Flores were the finalists,
top 2 finalists.
I'm wondering, because there were a lot of stories out there. We talked about the Flores suit, and we talked about, there were stories out there that even more so than minority coaches not getting a chance to get a first-time job. The fact that they didn't get second and third chances like the white coaches did was a big story as well. Lovie Smith has got a third time here, and it's interesting timing in my mind that Lovie Smith gets this job.
It's like a mercy pick. You think it's a mercy pick?
I'm wondering if it isn't, if we got to pick somebody, because we got to make these negative stories go away. Let's get somebody in here who's getting this third try.
If you pick anybody, that's someone to pick. All right. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Is it the police?
No, it's my put me on a pause, man.
All right. We got to take we only got a couple minutes left, so hurry up.
You can close it out.
All right. We're going to wrap it up. Carlos, you go. I'll wrap up the show. See you later, buddy. Thanks for coming in. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to Carlos for coming in tonight. We kind of dissected the Super Bowl, including some prop picks. I hope you guys were excited about some of those picks. I could give you 100 more, man. It's ridiculous what you can bet on today. I can bet on the coin flip. I can bet on the length of the national anthem. I can pretty much bet on anything you want to. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a fun Super Bowl for some of the storylines that I've talked about. Carlos and I brought up and chatted about today. I'm sorry we didn't get to have a chance to have you guys give your comments, but I hope you'll put them in during the course of this. And if I have a chance, I'll certainly respond to them while I'm out of town. As I said, I'm on a cruise starting Saturday. So this show, I'll be on a plane on Friday. You'll see my vlogs will still air. I did a couple the other day to post while I'm away. I'm going to try to go live from the Carnival Magic for a little while next Wednesday for the college football or college sports huddle, as it were, for now. We'll try to go live with something next Friday. Carlos won't be with me, but you can certainly be with me. And we'll try to do something on both Sundays for the Stream of Consciousness show. So the you Facebook viewers, I don't know when I'll go live. I may go live during the Roku portion of the show, which would be noontime on Thursday, next Thursday, noontime Sunday, and noontime on the Friday. So anyway, we will look to get that all put together. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I hope you guys don't miss me too much, but we'll have some fun. You'll see me checking in from the Magic and the high seas of the Caribbean and enjoying myself for 9 glorious days. And I hope you guys have a great couple of weeks. Please post. Please like the show. Please follow the show. Please share the show with your friends, with your enemies. And we'll see you pretty soon. Keith Engel for TGI Sports Talk right here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.